It's a beautiful, quaint little town, very quiet.
Until it wasn't. February 3rd, 2023, everything changed when this Norfolk Southern train carrying toxic chemicals derailed. A controlled burn followed. Here's what the site looks like today, a new railroad track over the old one.
On February 3rd, this was just a ball of fire. It went down in a straight line, smoke everywhere. It was just an orange covered sky covering the trees and the buildings.
And this community, including local chiropractor Dr. Rick Chai, was told to evacuate. He sought answers in the aftermath.
They spilled not only vinyl chloride, but 60,000 gallons of benzene, which is a class 1 carcinogen. There were hundreds of thousands of gallons of chemicals spilled into our land, into our waterways, and then subsequently burned into our air.
Since the derailment, consultants hired by Norfolk Southern and the EPA collect samples in accordance with the EPA approval and send to EPA-approved labs. They test for 16 chemicals. A spokesman with the Ohio EPA tells me sampling results from the past several months have been non-detect for chemicals related to the spill. They say testing is done monthly. Ohio's EPA Director Ann Vogel visited East Palestine within the last week.
We don't see any chemical of concern that is at such levels that there would be a human health risk in the creeks. So we're not worried that there's exposure, that it's getting into the air, anything like that. And we have, more than 1 million data points on air quality monitoring to ensure that that's the case.
My sense is that the EPA has lied to us. If I give you a glass of water with poison on the bottom and it sinks to the bottom, but there's clean water on the top, are you going to drink from it? When I walk through those creeks and I stir up the sediment and the poisonous toxins come up around my feet, it's not clean.
He says this happened on Christmas Day. Dr. Chai took this picture in one of the local creeks about 2 miles from the crash site. And he says the chemicals just keep showing up.
Look at this. Look.
Dr. Chai says his independent testing of volatile organic compounds showed double the amount of benzene, among other chemicals he says would cause burning mucous membranes and sore throats.
You don't want to touch it. You don't want your kids in those creeks. You do not want to ingest it.
But he's trying to shape what does. 7 weeks ago, he decided to run for Congress for the 6th District.
I am fed up. The people of East Palestine are fed up. And I believe the people of District 6 and the entire nation are fed up.
He's running for Republican Bill Johnson's seat. Johnson stepped down as congressman in January to start his job as president of Youngstown State University.
I will never shut up about what happened here, but I'll take care of the whole district. The first thing I do is what I've been begging for. I've been begging for no or low interest loans that don't have to be paid back until the people sell their property. I'm going to push for that. And I'm going to get the people out of here that want to get out.
Laura Queso, 3 News. February 3rd, 8:55 a.m., a train crash, a spill, and then a controlled burn. News of the Norfolk Southern train derailment traveled quickly in this tight-knit area. So did the smoke.
Didn't think nothing of it. I mean, we didn't think anything with chemicals or anything like that was involved.
Until Wayne O'Connell realized thousands of gallons of chemicals had spilled into the air and the wind was pushing the plumes northeast, directly over his house. They live 8 minutes from the crash site, over the border in Darlington, Pennsylvania.
We're just afraid that nobody got hurt. But hindsight tells us a lot of people got hurt. A lot of people.
Including Wayne himself.
What happened since?
I got breast cancer.
In May, he noticed a lump. A biopsy followed 4 weeks of chemotherapy and then a double mastectomy. He says he's never had health issues in his 25 years of living here. He's only had strep once.
Do you think it's coincidence that he has breast cancer and those chemicals were right over your house?
I don't believe there are no coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences. No. I know what happened. You are not going to get a doctor to say it. You are not going to get any medical profession who will ever admit that that's what caused it. But we know. Not a shadow of a doubt in my mind.
When they lit all them chemicals on fire, what does all them chemicals make when they mix together? Nobody can tell you.
But they tell me since the wreck, so much has changed on their property.
We used to have squirrels, like major amount of squirrels on our property, okay? They disappeared, gone. We live in an old farmhouse. We usually have a lot of mice. No mice either. Traps are set. Haven't caught anything.
No.
Makes you wonder.
After the derailment, they were drinking the water from their well. Norfolk Southern tested it and said it was okay, but Lori says she started getting headaches and her lips went numb. They now only drink bottled water for fear of chemicals all around them. They don't want to leave this home. They paid off their mortgage. They've made memories here with their children and grandchildren.
I'm afraid this isn't our insulation. We have an air monitor upstairs that we got from one of the studies, and it shows volatile chemicals and particulate matter. It goes up and down. And yeah, so I've been tracking it, and you know, you don't know what to do.
They want more testing, more answers. A family feeling forgotten, and not the only ones who tell us the same exact thing.
I don't know. I don't know what's next for me. I know one thing, I'm gonna fight it.
Resilience.
It's the word that comes to mind 1 year after the toxic train derailment that spilled thousands of hazardous chemicals into this little town of East Palestine. Fire Chief Keith Drabick wasn't even on the job a year at the time, but he says he knows what this community wants now.
They don't want the stigma of the contaminated town that everybody's going to die in. They want to grow, get back to where they were, and be better than they were.
He says the train company, Norfolk Southern, lived up to their promises, committing more than $103 million to the area, including $21 million paid out to residents who were upended by the derailment. Also a value assurance program, ending February 9th, which compensates any reduction in value of eligible residential properties.
Nobody can predict what's going to happen 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road. We don't know. Nothing like this has ever happened anywhere.
What about the water that's been...
What about the water? There's nothing wrong with it.
And
I use it every day. I used it from February 3rd on till now. I shower in it. I wash my pots and pans in it, my clothes in it. I cook with it. I drink it. I use the water to make my coffee. I drink coffee, lots of coffee every day.
The EPA and Norfolk Southern both say the samples do not show amounts of hazardous chemicals. And Chief Drabick says he's never felt any health impacts.
You can only go based on the information you have, the data you have. And the data we have, we're going to be okay. Are some people going to have effects from this? Absolutely. Everybody's different. Everybody reacts differently to different things. A lot of these were sensitizers.
And Governor Mike DeWine knows there are concerns, especially for kids. We talked about it at the governor's mansion in Columbus in December.
It's the unknown that is there. So we're now subsidizing, the state is subsidizing a clinic that is in East Palestine. People can go there right in the village, get the health care that they need. We're going to continue, and we've pledged we're going to continue to stay there and monitor the water. We're going to continue to stay there and monitor the air. We're seeing, Fran and I were there about 2 weeks ago. We saw the new plant, water treatment plant. They now have the ability, they got some money from the railroad, they have the ability now to take out PFAS.
Meantime, the state of Ohio, just 2 months ago, announcing 18 East Palestine businesses will get more than $3.3 million in forgivable loans to assist with recovery since the derailment.
In the long run, they have to have prosperity. They have to have businesses. People have to have a place to work.
Governor DeWine, and I don't have any political affiliation. Governor DeWine is an amazing man, period. He's done exactly what he said he was going to do for us. He has been here throughout the whole thing with us.
As for the federal government, the White House just announcing President Biden will make a stop in East Palestine this month. But Chief Drabick says he thought the president was visiting back in September.
I got called to go to a meeting at the airport because he was coming. I drove the whole way there, left my responsibilities here to drive there, for a meeting for preparation for come to get there and be told he's not coming. You know, it is what it is. If he ever comes, he comes. It doesn't matter to me.
What does matter to him is moving forward as a stronger, healthier community, he says.
Anything that you regret?
Nope,
It's pretty amazing.
nothing. We did what we did with what we had, the best that we could. I wouldn't change. I don't regret anything. I own up to all of it.